I remember the way Anna looked that night, flawless, radiant, like she belonged on someone else's arm. And maybe that should have told me something. But I was too proud, too hopeful, too blind. The gala was supposed to be a celebration. I'd landed a major client for the firm. Gregory, the CEO, the kind of man whose name alone made people straighten their ties, had personally invited me. It was the first time I truly felt like I was becoming someone. Anna wore a sleek black dress, the kind that turned heads. She held my arm, kissed my cheek, and told me how proud she was. For a while, that was enough. The ballroom was glowing with money and ambition. Crystal glasses, soft jazz, polite laughter. I introduced Anna around, and she charmed everyone. Gregory noticed her instantly. He walked over with that trademark smirk and said, "Now that's a +1. Anna laughed. It was light at first, innocent, but it lingered just a second too long. His hand brushed hers when he took her drink. She didn't flinch. I told myself I was being paranoid. Gregory was like that with everyone. He flirted like it was breathing, and Anna was used to attention. She never gave me a reason not to trust her. But then the toast happened. Gregory raised his glass near the end of the evening, clinking it gently for silence. The room turned toward him. "To loyalty," he said, eyes scanning the crowd before landing squarely on us. "To knowing who's really on your side, and to the woman who's with me tonight." He tilted his glass right at Anna. Everyone laughed, awkward, confused, but laughing. I turned to her, expecting some kind of denial, a glare, a protest, something, but she smiled. And then she laughed too. Not nervous laughter, not "what a weird joke" laughter. It was warm, familiar, like she understood the joke, like she was in on it. Something inside me cracked. I smiled, because what else could I do? My co-workers were watching. Gregory was still looking at her, and she didn't correct him. Not with words, not with body language. She leaned into him. I didn't say a word the whole ride home. She didn't bring it up, just hummed along with the radio, like nothing had happened. And I kept waiting for her to break the silence, to laugh and say Gregory was drunk, or it was just a joke, or anything that would pull me back from the edge. But she didn't. That night, as she undressed in the dark, I watched her from the bed. Her dress slid off like it had been waiting to fall. I didn't recognize the woman in front of me. I told myself I was tired, that I'd misread everything, that work stress was making me see things that weren't there. I kissed her shoulder, and she kissed me back. But something was different. I was already losing her. I just hadn't accepted it yet. I kept trying to forget that night, to chalk it up to nerves, to ego, to Gregory being Gregory. But some things once seen don't unsee themselves. That toast didn't fade. It burned. And every time I looked at Anna, the echo of her laughter haunted me. She didn't act like anything was wrong. If anything, she was sweeter, more affectionate. She asked about my day, laughed at my jokes, made plans for weekend getaways. But her smile had a new shape to it. Less warmth, more performance. Like a mask, the shift was subtle, but unmistakable. She started dressing differently, sharper, bolder. Her blouses became tighter, heels higher. When I asked if she had a meeting, she shrugged and said, "Just felt like looking nice today." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the signs started piling up. She began locking her phone. Not always, but enough for me to notice. Her screen used to light up face up on the counter. Now it was always flipped down. And if it buzzed, she'd suddenly remember something to do in another room. One night, I heard her laugh from the kitchen, the same kind of laugh she gave Gregory. I walked in quietly. She was on the phone, her back to me, whispering, "No, he's in the living room. I'll call you back." She turned and saw me, startled, but not flustered. "It was just Natalie," she said easily. "She's going through it with Brian again." I nodded, said nothing, but Natalie never whispered like that. And Anna never lied so smoothly. At work, Gregory started dropping hints too, passing me in the hall with a grin that felt carved from cruelty. "You should bring Anna to more functions," he said once, clapping my shoulder. "She brings good energy. People like her." The worst part wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. Like I was a fool in a game I didn't even know I was playing. I stopped making excuses for her in my head. I started paying attention instead. One morning, I noticed she deleted an entire thread of messages while pretending to scroll Instagram. Another evening, she told me she was going to yoga. but came back with makeup perfectly intact and the faintest whiff of cologne that wasn't mine. Still, I said nothing. I needed to know, not guess. If I confronted her too early, she'd deny it, turn it around, make me the insecure husband snooping on a faithful wife. That's how these things work. Gaslight. Distract. Confuse. So I waited. I started watching her more closely. Not obsessively. Not like a man unraveling, just like a man trying to see what was already there. And it was all there. The phone habits. The shift in tone. The inside jokes she didn't explain. The way she touched me. Just enough to keep me believing, but not enough to feel real. She was slipping away, and she didn't think I'd notice. But I did. I noticed everything. It came in a text, like something out of a perfectly staged illusion. Dinner at my place this Friday. Bring Anna. Just us three. Casual. Gregory. Anna saw it before I could respond. Sounds fun, she said too quickly. We haven't been out in a while. I stared at the message, then at her. There was no hesitation in her voice, no worry about how it might look, just eagerness. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to say, you know what he meant by that toast, but I didn't. I just said, sure. The night came faster than I expected. Anna wore red. It wasn't her usual style. It was bold, like a dare, low back, tight waist, slid on the side. I told her she looked beautiful and I meant it, but the words tasted different in my mouth. Like they belonged to someone who still believed this was his marriage. Gregory's place was exactly what you'd expect: glass and marble, quiet jazz humming under dim lights, the scent of expensive candles trying to hide something rotten underneath. There were no other cars in the driveway. Anna didn't seem surprised. Maybe everyone's late, she said, breezing through the front door like she'd been there before. Maybe she had. Gregory greeted us in an open shirt and too much cologne. He hugged Anna, a long, slow hug. She didn't pull away. Glad you made it, he said to me with a grin. Bars open. We sat around at two small tables set for three. No signs of extra plates. No wine chilling in a bucket for guests who'd never come. Gregory poured her wine first, his fingers grazing hers as he handed the glass. She smiled that smile and I felt something sharp twist inside me. He ignored me most of the night. Talked to her about art galleries, travel, Paris. I didn't even know she liked art. She laughed and touched her necklace when he complimented her dress. I watched in silence, and I realized I didn't exist in that room. Not as her husband, not even as a man. I was furniture. Halfway through dinner, I excused myself and stepped out onto the balcony to breathe. The city stretched below, distant and indifferent, and when I walked back in there they were. Just the two of them, on the other balcony, behind the sheer curtains, close. His hand rested on her back, fingers splayed, possessive. She didn't move. I stopped just outside the glass and listened. I shouldn't, she whispered. He leaned in. Then tell me to stop. She didn't. Not a word. Not even a breath of resistance. She just looked at him. That was it. I didn't need to see anything else. I turned, walked back inside, and sat down at the empty table. My plate was cold, my glass was full, and my marriage was over. Even if no one had said it out loud. When Anna came back inside, she smiled like nothing had happened. So did I, but mine was the last lie I'd ever tell her.